thought we would do a Chris Watts update. What is his life in prison today in 2023? And I've got some stuff lined up for us. All right. Oh, before we go in, I just wanted to share with you really quick. If you're someone who likes blogs, we have a blog. It's the Cafe Bazaar by ParaWomen Radio blog. Um, I put the Aliens in My Closet Livemas that we did up there, and on Wednesdays we talk weird, embark on the quest to seek the myth. I do more of the paranormal over here, but I also, ParaWomen Radio used to have a blog page, and there was about 6 women that contributed to it, but it went defunct and I lost a lot of the writings. But I've been going into the way back machine and I've been pulling them out. So I've been pulling out the classics for the blog page. So if you're someone who likes to read, I have been working on our blog page if you're interested. The first thing I found, and I will put the links to all these channels in the description below. We won't watch the whole video per usual so that you will go to the person's page and watch it. But the first thing that I saw was that J is for Justice did a Chris Watts update. Prison inmate shares new info and more. And I do have a video of an actual inmate in prison talking about what Chris Watts' life is going to be like or is like. So I thought we would do that. Let me see. Make sure.
But we have a source.
Oh, God.
We have a source at Dodge Correctional that spoke to The Messenger. Isn't that a UK publication? The Messenger. But at any rate,
I've not heard of it.
The Messenger. I don't know if that's UK. I thought the Daily Mail was UK, wasn't it? I don't know.
Oh, well, here's the knife. I got to show you. The ad just came back. Hold on. Wait for it. Are you kidding me right now? It's like a built-in knife.
Oh,
what? Because of what I talk about.
What is this? Chris Watts, who murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters.
What? Sleeves with a built-in knife. What happens if I click on it? I'm scared to.
They're like,
but it says big save on
arm
Temu.
Protectors.
It on Chris. Hold on. Let me get the picture back up. For the whole, we got to do the whole presentation. So Chris Watts, a source at Dodge Correctional, says that he's definitely turned to his faith.
Thanks for
that.
That
he attends Bible studies and even leads some. He is trying to be a good example. So he's reading his Bible when he's not asking for wet underpants. He's near the bottom of the prison's social order. According to the source, everyone knows what he did, and they're disgusted by him. He only has a few friends. The source also...
Well, I mean, the few friends that I've heard that he's ever had have been, like, done worse than him. Like the guy who kidnapped that girl and murdered the entire family and kept her hostage. I can't remember the girl's name or his name, but that was his friend.
Also says that Watts has no interest in seeking release and is trying to make the most of his time in prison.
I don't think Chris Watts has any desire to get out right now because he is being taken care of. He doesn't have to do anything. Well, I mean, he has to do things, but his days are ordered. He knows what to expect pretty much day in and day out. He doesn't have to worry about money or take care of a family. He can like schmooze with girls. I think he might like boys too, which it doesn't matter to me if you like who you like, but I think he does. And so I don't think his life, I don't think he's like hating his life too much. I mean, his family's all up in his butt, like I don't think he thinks his life is too harsh or bad right now. What do you guys
The
think?
prison source also told the messenger that many fellow inmates have harassed Watts while others ignore him completely. The prison source said, quote, "You don't want to be a baby killer at Dodge, so he's the lowest of the low, but he's trying to help others, even while he mourns his family." The prison source also said, "He deserves the punishment he got. He knows that, and he's going to serve the rest of his life sentence. That's his future." And then they said that he also keeps pictures of his family still in his cell. And that's it. It wasn't a huge update.
When we found out that he keeps pictures of his family in his cell, was Shanann included in those pictures? I don't really like to send bad energy or feelings to people, but I have no problems doing it to Chris Watts. He doesn't deserve. I Man, even saying it makes me feel wrong to say he doesn't deserve goodness because everybody deserves it. But if I'm feeling like I need to send energy to somebody that's less than perfect, I don't really feel too bad about doing it to Chris Watts.
But apparently someone's talking to someone from the
He
prison.
still has their pictures up, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Oh,
He's still got their pictures in
he
his
still
cell.
has their pictures. I'm sorry, I missed the next part. He works now as a prison janitor.
it just seems so like, ugh. I think that's why my videos, Rhinestone Cowgirl, that have like the sweet home videos, and I'm putting the letters up of, Chris Watts rating these like letters that don't match the sweetness. I think that's why they do so well, because it's like such a like slap in the face.
And he is eager to start a new life with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said?
His girlfriend.
He reportedly spends a lot of time corresponding with scores of smitten women who have written him. And the report claims many of his pen pals.
Well,
we know this to be true. And I think that's another reason he's like just loving prison. He's got all these women writing to him. I have spoken to some women who have wrote to him, and have become good friends with one of them. She wrote, Angela, she wrote from Angela's Aging Essentials. She wrote to him because she's a Christian and she felt like she needed to make sure he knew God. So, and once she felt like he got the message, she stopped corresponding. If you are someone who's corresponded with Chris, I'd love to talk to you.
Believe he's innocent, despite his admissions.
It's okay, baby.
And did you know that him and Dylan Tallman have a self-published book of prayers? Remember they had the drama about who gets the book? Dylan Tallman says he's over it. He's not worried about it. He's put it all behind him. But one of the prayers from the book I wanted to share. This is one of the prayers. My past is a blueprint and the devil, the architect. While I watch his fallen ones build stone upon stone every day, I see these walls as insurmountable. A barrier that blocks me from enjoying your love, your peace, and your joy, O Lord. You are my master builder. Help me walk around these walls, sound the trumpet, and shout that they may come crashing down like the walls of Jericho. Give me a break. Cry me a river and give me
okay.
Our favorite. So to piggyback on the Watts update, this is something that I just found out. We all know that Armchair Detective followed the Watts case like nobody's business. And we know that the Rusak family was not happy about all of his theories, all of his conspiracies, on and on and on, and they retained a lawyer. Frankie retained a lawyer. Now, whether that lawyer got this done but I don't know who did it. But Armchair Detectives, all his channels are gone, terminated. And
yeah, we covered
Checkmate Humanity.
Checkmate Humanity is a very good channel. We covered this, I think, on day 3 of Livemas. It was the deplatformed. So I'm not sure we're gonna. Actually, we're just gonna move on. Let's see what you guys are saying. His letters to his family are so pathetic. If you felt like that, why aren't they still here? Exactly. Nobody who loves their family this strongly would ever harm them. Indeed. Jen says, remember when he brought on Blair? Blair. No, I don't. See, I didn't watch Armchair Detective. I remember when this so-called Jen came through. I remember Jen, the girlfriend, and then she became like the spokeswoman for the Watts case, and I remember that. Oh, Rhinestone remembers. AD is a poser. A piece of shit. Sorry, a poser too. He's in trouble right now for his BS. Yeah, he is, isn't he? He was deplatformed, I think. Okay, so let's go on to the new evidence in the Chris Watts case. Data shows girls were alive when taken to oil site. This one's a long one. Not sure. We'll just pop through it and see what's going on.
Jammers has been a seeker for 6 months. So glad you stopped seeking to 10 minutes. Anna Dark, can you fucking believe it? Completely opened and assigned to Special Agent Black. On 8/14/2018, Frederick Police Department contacted the Fort Collins Residency Agency in regards to Shanann Watts' date of birth, 1/10/84, who had been reported missing by blank the prior afternoon. We know that to be Nicole Atkinson. Shanann is 15 weeks pregnant, and also missing are her 2 daughters, ages 3 and 4.
All right. I'm not really sure where the new data comes in. This might be one that you'll just have to go watch. Yeah. This looks like one that's a good one that you'll just have to go watch because it's yikes. I thought this one was funny. It's a joke, obviously, but hold on a second. Let's share this one. This is ParaWomen Radio, and I'm Amy. We're doing day 16 of Livemas. We are taking a peek at Chris Watts and life in prison in 2023. Jay is for Justice told us that he is a janitor, the bottom of the barrel right now, which I don't think he's ever not going to be the bottom of the barrel. He seems to be pretty satisfied and happy, thinks he's going to be there for the rest of his life, yada, yada, yada. Boom. Do you think Chris Watts is going to look like that when he gets older? I suspect he might. Okay, so I saw over on Dave's page that Chris Watts' mother, Cindy Watts, has responded to Sherilyn Cadle's new book.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
It's only hold on. I don't know. It's only a short, and I don't know how to get it back to the beginning, so I got to let it play, and then we'll rewatch it. This is ParaWomen Radio. I keep saying that it's ParaWomen Radio. I think I keep doing it because we're over on Instagram for the first time live. Okay, so Dave posted a short video on Oh, he did bring Dave on the channel? He brought David on the channel as well, which is a PDO, which was CW's cellmate, and I believe who was the person with the Vaseline and underwear. Is that the guy that he wrote the book with? I don't agree with everything Dave does or says, but he is friends with the Watts, so he does bring us new content on the Watts case, so I do watch them.
No, I asked Chris. I said, Cadel has a new book out, and she's,
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Right, and she's saying things about me and Ronnie, and I said, I wanted to ask you, did you ever say that you had sex with Nicole Kessinger on the Kitchen Island? And he said, no, never, absolutely not.
Let's listen to that again.
No, I asked Chris. I said, Cadel has a new book out, and she's,
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Right, and she's saying things about me and Ronnie, and I said, I wanted to ask you, did you ever say that you had sex with Nicole Kessinger on the Kitchen Island? And he said, no, never, absolutely not.
The island, is that when they went to North Carolina? Is that what they're trying to... She's trying to say that Nicole Kessinger went to North Carolina? Is that the island? What's interesting to me is that he was so wrapped up with Nicole Kessinger, but the last person that he technically had sex with was his wife, right? Granted, I'm assuming he hasn't had sex since he's been in prison with any women. I'm sure he's been with, well, like I said, I think he's been with men, but I doubt he's been with another woman. So this is a guy that is in prison, or was in prison and jail, and kind of knows the, because they say prison is a whole new, it's a different world, different rules, different everything. And so he kind of talks about it, and I thought it would be interesting to listen to some of him.
And then sentenced and going to prison. I hear everybody talk about it, and everybody say certain people are going to get it when they get into the penitentiary, and how their lives are endangered, and why it's all, risky, that they'll never survive and they have to go into protective custody. Guys, there's a huge realm of how things work on the inside of the penitentiaries and also the jails. They're separate. They are very different. Jails, which are ran by the county, are far different than the prison system that's either ran by the state or by the federal government. Obviously, in someone's case like Chris Watts, which I want to focus in on in this case because I've been specifically asked about his living and what he can look forward to while being incarcerated. Let's start with what it's like to be in jail. In a county jail, you still, just like the penitentiary, have different custody levels. Starts with a minimum and works its way all the way up to a high-profile, segregated unit. Also, within that, you do have protected custody that's kept separate from all of those. In Chris Watts' situation, obviously, with the type of crimes that he was being charged with, he could never be housed in a minimum, not even a medium. The best that he could ever be, if he was in general population, which is where the majority of inmates on good standing go to, they would go to general population. he could be no lower than a closed custody, high, maximum security, to a segregation or protective custody. In his case, within the jail system, with the high profileness of his case and also the horrificness of killing the 2 children, it doesn't have much to do with actually taking the life of his wife. If you've been locked up and you've been in high security, the majority of the people you're serving time with are convicted of very tragic cases like this, murders. It's of their loved ones. It's of, family friends. It could possibly be of an estranged person that's dating your wife. Who knows? But they're typically murders. So it's not uncommon to bump into a very high profile case. What actually puts the risk on Chris Watts' life is the fact he killed both of his children, which were very young, and also the unborn child. The unborn child is really what puts
Yeah, I
him
was going to say actually both of his children and then a third child.
kind of on the chopping block. And when I say chopping block, in the penitentiary, we call it a green light. What a green light means, anybody and everybody takes a shot at you. Anytime you're available and someone's within reach of you, they're gonna get their hands on you and they're gonna try to end it all right then and there. They're not just there to slap you around to teach you a lesson. They're there to put you in the exact same spot.
That. I see. Thank you, D'Andy. They say it was on a kitchen island. Gotcha. Got it. Unfortunately, I got it. I moved my thing. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Not the exact same way that you put those little children. It's graphic, I know. It's raw, but it's the truth. Sadly, most times when you're in a county jail and you have cases like that, you are put into what's protective custody. They keep you completely separate from anybody within the general population, and in most cases, even all inmates within the protective custody unit. They don't allow anybody to get around them. They know you're high risk, and they're going to protect you because every eye is on that suspect as he's going through.
Yeah, they don't want anything to happen to Chris Watts on their watch because it would draw a lot of attention.
The court system, and the state cannot afford, especially the county, for something to happen to that high profile inmate. It doesn't mean they're going to protect you forever. And it doesn't even mean that you can't get got because it still happens. But for the most case, they're going to do their very best to keep you separated
because he's in jail now or prison.
You're going to live in a 6x8 cell.
2 weeks ago.
Your head every night when you lay it down.
Okay, so he's talking about what happened in jail. Let's see what if he says anything more.
Wrong when it comes to these high-profile cases. They feel as though the minute that this man hit the yard in Colorado where he committed the crime, he was on the chopping block and the inmates were going to be shooting for him. Most cases in the state penitentiary and you're on a higher yard, that is very true. The green light is still there and people are shooting for you. Now, the difference being in a state penitentiary, I know people aren't going to believe me when I say the guards, they let it happen. On the yards I was housed on, I knew when someone like Chris Watts was coming on the yard, his paperwork would come to my cell before he got out of the sally port. I already knew who he was. I already knew why he was there. And we had already discussed within the months of the ranks of the yard how it was going to be handled. So he had no shot if we deemed that he had no shot because those COs.
Okay, so I guess this guy is saying he was actually, hold on, I got a cough. He was actually in prison with Chris Watts? Is that what it is? Wow. That's really fascinating to me.
They also knew better than to hide who was coming on the yard. Because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, PC cases get hidden every day on yards, and we send them right out packing the minute that we figure out who they are and why they're there. They don't last long. Someone like Chris Watts, if he had come to a yard I was on, wouldn't have made it 15 minutes. He would not have been alive at the end of the day. It just is what it is. It's prison politics. Prison politics are hard to explain, and they would be hard for you to understand if you've never been there. Because even if you have been there and you haven't served a long period of time, you may not have ever gotten involved in it. When you serve a long period of time and you become a part of the home atmosphere, prison becomes home. You live there for a long period of time. You get stable there. Well, you become active within different realms of the politics of the yard, and that's when you become part of the decision making, and you become a part of the actions that get taken upon inmates. Chris Watts is a sick individual for what he did. No reason why the man couldn't have walked away.
That's what everybody says.
He could have gotten custody, shared custody of his children, or if he just decided he didn't want any custody whatsoever, he could have gone that route as well.
Walked away.
Just paid simple justice, maybe. Did they really pay attention to it? Not really. So when somebody comes from out of state, any part of Colorado, of murders of stuff like this, could somebody have possibly heard of it? Maybe. Did they really pay attention to it? Not really. So when somebody comes from out of state, most of the time it goes unrecognized for the time being because it's different politics in different places. Denver is a West Coast political state when it comes to the penitentiary. Wisconsin is more of a back east type of politics. What's the difference? There's many. We can't get into all of them, but there is major differences within the politics. So when Chris Watts was moved to Wisconsin, the way things would be handled for him became far different than what they would have been on the West Coast. He was able to slide in a little more under the radar because even the guards there in Wisconsin might not truly know the entire story behind Chris Watts. They don't get to look at the entire file. They've got a door card that say what the charges are. They don't say what those charges are about. It may say murder in the first. It doesn't say murder in the first took his child's life. That's not how it spells that out. The difference for us on the West Coast is we don't just require your door card when you come on the yard. We want your documentation. We want to know exactly the basis of what those charges are because we do understand many people take plea bargains that change the actual dynamic of what their charge is. If you're a sexual...
It's so interesting to me that he's talking like he is the warden. Like the inmates obviously run the place. We want to know this. We want to see this. We're going to do that.
To have to live in that small cell, walk the yard, fight on the yard, eat in the dirty chow halls, just endure the entire disgustingness of a prison cell. But I'll tell you what, when I look at someone like Chris Watts, it's sickening. And I know exactly why the politics on the yards and the states I were in were deemed exactly the way they were. We couldn't let somebody like this walk the yard. We could not allow someone that's so disrespectful to children. I understand it's not a sexual predator type crime.
I was thinking about the Shonda Vander Ark, and like I was thinking her life was going to be pretty miserable, but the thing about her is she has all that legal knowledge. So I think that she'll be able to trade her legal knowledge for safety. And I'm just wondering what Chris Watts trades. I think he probably trades all his letters. Like he probably trades the girls that writes to him and the money he gets.
But you ended the life of 2 children and a third that hadn't even been born yet. It's disgusting. That's something that, in my mind, I can't even fathom being able to do. And I just don't think it's right. You ended child's life. Take that said life. Because Chris Watts is weak. He's not somebody that's going to do well in a penitentiary. Just because you've taken the life of a woman and children doesn't mean you can stand on your 2 feet and handle what will be coming your way. Because the people that come, inmate-wise, at you,
I feel like he just never knows. Like he's somebody that has a bullseye on his back. Like he just never knows when it's going to come at him, I think.
It's no joke. It's no joke. Broken bones are very common just in a simple fist fight.
I have over on TikTok the more information on the so-called attack of Chris Watts. So I will put this man's link in the description. Go over and watch it. He gave us a little information on what it's like for Chris Watts in prison.
No, at the top. Take the book out. All right, get it in.
The dead body sat on the floor for hours before corrections officials were able to move it. Much of the
The collar. All right, y'all go ahead and y'all do. Close the door, Katie. No, at the top. Take the book out. All right, get it in.
The dead body sat on the floor for hours before corrections.
That's the thing about TikTok. You just never know what you get.
The collar. All right, y'all go ahead and y'all do. Close the door.
Okay, so we're over on TikTok. We're going to take these things with a grain of salt because, but they're saying that Chris was attacked in prison. This is recent. I did cover it a little bit. I don't think he was attacked, but let's see what they say. Footage of Chris Watts in prison. Photos from him being attacked recently. We'll see. How do you play it? Oops. This is footage of him when he was being booked. Tea and True Crime with Bella. Come on, girl. Actually, where's the mute button? I'm going to have to go in and cut out the music. This is ParaWomen Radio. We're over on TikTok watching videos of Chris Watts supposedly being attacked, but I suspect that this is not Chris Watts in this cell. What are you guys thinking? True Crime with Bella puts a lot of lies out there. I unfollowed and blocked her. Okay. Thanks for the update. So I don't think that was Chris Watts. Sensitive content. Oh, okay. She's talking about this.
I believe everything you see on TikTok. Comments have been turned off for a reason.
What about angels? They will come, they will make us special.
This is supposed to be him being attacked. Has anyone seen this?
You can post facts You can post even your opinion, but don't post lies. This just gives all of us true crimers a bad name, and I really don't like it. This creator also uploaded a video earlier today and then took it down when she was called out for it, but it was supposedly footage from Chris Watts in prison, but the date in the top left-hand corner, which I guess she forgot to cut out, was August 2017.
Oh.
And if you know anything about the Chris Watts case, it happened in 2018. Don't believe everything you see on TikTok.
Thank you, Brooke, on TikTok. I'm going to follow her.
Remember Chris Watts, that piece of shit who got 5 life sentences for killing his own family? Apparently he got written up and it's sus. Hella sus. Chris Watts disciplined after his underwear and lube were found in another man's cell. Hold up. What? So apparently Watts is on a PC unit with this dude, Dylan Talman, and they just sort of developed a relationship. So first understand that in some prisons, they put little labels on all of your pieces of clothing and they can track your canteen items. They did a cell search on Talman's cell and they found Watts' underwear and his thing of Vaseline. This is a picture of Dylan Talman. This is a picture of Chris Watts. Do you think one was the top and the other was the bottom, or do you think they were just taking turns on each other? Either way, the prison decided that they were going to break these two lovers up, and they sent Talman to another institution, so now Chris is a little lonely. Now, if you remember correctly, Watts was transferred from Colorado, where he should have been doing his prison time, to a PC camp in Wisconsin, so they could try to keep him safe. But here's the thing, there's no safe spaces in prison, and y'all really need to step up your game, Wisconsin. Why is this dude still breathing? Y'all remember Chris Watts, that piece of shit who got 5 life sentences?
Why is this dude still breathing? Chris Watts, commissary hall in prison. His mom and dad send him money. I mean, this probably would be true. Oh, is she saying that these are the actual videos of his prison hall? Is T and True Crime with Bella saying that she's somehow in with the Watts case, like she knows somebody? Whatever. We won't be watching any more of her videos because I don't believe them now. This is ParaWomen Radio, day 16 of Livemas. We're kind of just doing updates of Chris Watts in prison, what his life is like in 2023. I know I did an update. I don't know if it was this year, though, but it was like, I think more in the beginning, there was letters where he was saying that he worked in the kitchen. He was the meat man, remember? This is the last video we're going to watch. Chris Watts case, latest update from Ronnie and Cindy Watts in Wisconsin. They went and this would be September 21st of 2022. We'll watch a little bit of it. They went and visited, I think this is the one where they talk about Ronnie threw the paper plate in front of them and said, how could you have put the girls through something that small? I think it might be that one.
He wants to do right by them. He wants to, and even said God's prayers were answered. You know, that Frank called and said, I have a place in his heart. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Frankie's in the dark. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, he's in the dark about it all, and he's the one that's actually being used by Sandy, you know, to be the voice of the family because he's more believable.
Yeah, because I know there's no way Sandy will get on the phone with him.
I just want to say that we support the Rusaks on this channel, and these are some of the things I don't agree with. The Rusaks are victims. They're victims.
Say that. Ain't no way in hell Sandy will get on the phone with him.
No. Never.
Not a chance in the world.
But then, like I told Chris, I said, the only thing Dave is doing, he's not blowing up the Rusaks about this, that, or the other. I said, he's just looking for answers, Chris. I said, the name of his channel is Speaking the Truth with Dave.
Ronnie defended you?
I defended you.
I know it's more of a Z, Rusaks, but I always try to put the checks in there. Rusaks. I always say that, but I know it's Rusaks, but I always say it wrong.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
tell you
No, I said
all
that.
the
Yes,
stuff
Jen.
Ronnie brought up tonight. And Chris said, he said,
Yes.
well, I knew this was going to happen. He said, but I thought you'd wait till Wednesday or Thursday. He said, I didn't know you were going to bring everything up tonight. And we did. We brought everything to him. Everything.
Really?
Everything. And he's... The what? Oh, you tell him that. Oh my God, Ronnie was dramatic.
Well, I wasn't dramatic.
You were dramatic.
I'm pretty proud of himself for doing that.
He was saying that he just got finished eating, and I got a paper plate because once he sits down, he can't get up. He can't look at the food. He's not allowed to move once he sits down. And the food stuff was right behind us, and I got him the food. And he's eating the cheeseburger and stuff. When he's done,
I mean, considering Ronnie, and he seems like he's a really kind of easygoing, doesn't really want to say too much to rock the boat. Like, I think it probably took a lot for Ronnie to do that, to throw the plate in front of Chris and say what he said.
I got another plate, and I just threw it down on the table in front of him. I said, "See that right there, Chris?" I put my hand across it like I did that plate at the house. I said, "That's an 8-inch plate." Pretty much, it might be maybe a little bit smaller, but it's pretty much an 8-inch plate. I said, "You look at that."
So I feel like I see progress with the Watts. I see, in the beginning, I just total denial, I think, and I've just seen progress, and so that makes me feel good that there is progress.
And you tell me how them girls went down that. He just sat there and stared at it. I said, "Them girls did not go down through them hatches, Chris."
Like I don't believe the measurement.
Well, you take somebody that's alive and kicking and squeezing and turning the body this way and trying to get arms and everything. Yes, that's possible, maybe. But I think that was over 8 inches in diameter the way I looked at it. But, you cannot take a dead body, I don't mean to say it that way, and try to force it down through that without having marks all over them and cuts all over them and everything. And probably all kinds of wounds all over. There's no way, because if you look at the picture of the hatch, it's even got...
I do tend to agree with this. How, what's strange is I think Bella would be, because she seemed more petite, it would have maybe her, but how in the world did he get Cece through there? I mean, I just don't know.
Part of the opening is not...
not as wide. Not as wide when you get those to go in.
That had part of the edge that was not cut out right. It was,
and this obviously right here is Chris Watts's newest letter or newest picture that we have out there of him. So he looks like he's a lot grayer on the sides, and looks like this is his receding hairline is getting worse.
There's less made it. And
Bella looked just like him, didn't she? My goodness.
And I said, let me answer
but
this.
I can see Cece in these two, so.
It's okay, so if they went through the side. Well, you said that one tank had like 7 or 8 foot of, oil stuff in it. I said, yeah, so that if they have to take off the sides, that means oil's going to come out of it. Somebody would have to clean that up.
Yeah, one of them
the water
did have scrape marks on them, and there was some hair.
I said, what about?
There was some hair in the hatch. The thing is that if he did it, he shoved them through. There wasn't any dropping them through. He crammed them through. And because I can't see how he would have opened the bottom, because if you open the bottom, doesn't all the oil come out? Or maybe I'm wrong with that, but I don't know. I just can't even envision all of it. I just in my mind's eye too, he told us, what he was willing to tell us, it's got to be 10 times worse. And I just envision him marching little Bella up, because I don't see him wanting to make 2 trips up there. So I don't know. Ugh. I think Cece had some real brain damage and wasn't all there. And that's why he did her first. Just to, get it. Yeah. Anyway. Whew.
Troy coming out there again Tuesday just to look around. What about him saying that Chris might have buried evidence at 1029? He just was sitting there and looked at me. I said, Chris, there's a hell of a lot of shit you don't know.
And what Frank said, you got to stop telling, you've got to stop them from all your coworkers being talked about over the internet. You need to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, this is just for your ears now. We can't.
Yeah,
I know it's hard.
Are these all the people that they believe were involved in this? Is that why we're seeing that? Let's move forward. I will put the link to this so you can watch it all.
Looking around.
In the description.
And I said, what about Troy saying he thought you buried evidence at 1029? He said, I took a dump out there. I said, well, he said you might have buried evidence. That's what he told the FBI.
Who was it that took the poo out there? Was it Chris or was it Troy? They're saying Troy.
What about the water truck coming out there? So what about Troy coming back out there next day looking around? For what?
For what?
And I said, what about Troy saying he thought you buried evidence at 1029? He said, I took a dump out there. I said, well, he said
You know, after people murder others, it's common that they'll go to the bathroom. They'll take a poo. Like, remember in the Amanda Knox, there was the poo in the leftover in the toilet, and I've read or heard other cases where there's just poop next to the dead body.
You might have buried evidence. That's what he told the FBI, whoever it was.
And he just looked.
He looked like
I don't think they did, Brooke.
I mean, he didn't know about any of that stuff.
But they must have, right? It seems like they would have, but I don't know.
No, none of it. Not one thing do we know about.
What I told him.
Do you remember a year ago? Remember a year ago, you guys spoke to him on the phone. I said, Troy, over a year ago, actually, Jesus, it was when we first started talking. I said, Troy threw him under the bus. Troy's a piece of shit. I need you to tell him that Troy's a piece of shit. So you pretty much told him, Ronnie. Dave says.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how they could, like, I wish I had a friend like Nicole. So that's all I have to say about that.
Here I am painting angels on my walls to keep me company now that you have gone. And I know that it is true. Every rainbow holds some blue within its pretty walls. A little shade